Hi everyone, welcome tonight. Thank you for coming out. My name is Cristin Lowe and I am a divorce attorney, and tonight we are going to be going over all of the divorce forms that you need to get started in the divorce process, and we are going to be helping you. And the reason why we're doing this for you for free is because we love what we do. I really enjoy being a family law attorney. I enjoy helping people through a really difficult time in their lives, and when I go to the courthouse and I see people struggling and trying to get through the divorce process on their own, it's really hard, and I can't help everybody with their divorce, but I'm hoping that by giving seminars like this that I can help more people than I do right now. So I hope you're comfortable. The reason why we're doing it here instead of at the courthouse, first of all, budget cuts, there's no way they're open tonight. And second of all, we have a little bit more updated equipment and technology than they do, so you don't have to deal with the 60s projectors. All right, so we have our person set up. I have pulled an innocent victim out of this audience, and they're going to be helping me type the forms just to show you that anyone can do it, and it is accessible and it is doable. So we're just going to do this real time, and mistakes and all, we're going to keep going. So if you have any questions, and I know it's hard and this might be a little bit embarrassing to be asking your personal question to everyone here, so you can talk to me afterwards. If not, give me a call afterwards. If you need to email me, let's do that, and we'll make sure everybody has my contact information. And then with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so we're back on our home screen. We're going to go back to commonly used forms. We've just finished up the petition. So the next form we're going to do is actually the summons, and we're going to go a little bit out of order. I have no idea why the Judicial Council decided to number their forms like that, but the next form is actually not 105, it is the FL-110. We will get to 105, but that's not the right order. So we're going to go in the right order, which is the summons. And this is a quick form, so I promise not to bore you too much. And a lot of this is more of understanding what's going on versus filling it out. Filling it out is actually going to be very, very easy. So in our last example, we had Jamie Smith and we had Dale Smith. So we're going to do the same thing here. So notice to respondent. So remember, who's our respondent? Respondent is Dale. So respondent's name is going to go up there first. Let's put Dale Smith there. And you'll notice half of it's in Spanish, so it's really not as long of a form as you think it is. And then we're going to keep going down. We're going to go to petitioner's name is, and we're going to put Jamie Smith because that is who our petitioner is. And let's go back up to that box, and that's a scary box for a lot of people. It says you have been sued. All right, so let's take a deep breath. Yes, you are technically being sued in a legal aspect of it, but it's not a good guy, bad guy. We're not talking plaintiff defendant. That's why we don't title it that way. Petitioner respondent, okay? The reality is that you are filing papers with the courthouse and you are going to get a case number. You're opening up a case. In other words, it's a lawsuit, okay? It doesn't mean somebody's going to be at fault. It doesn't mean anybody's going to get punished. That is just what it's called. So you do need to take this seriously. A divorce is technically a lawsuit, and when there is a lawsuit, we have this concept of being sued, okay? So we're going to keep going down, and there's not a whole lot to fill out here, so we're just going to scroll. The first page is what I say is for the respondent. And basically over there in that left-hand side, if you're doing the English or the Spanish, it's giving you the information, meaning you as in the respondent, the information that they need to be able to respond. Basically gives them notice that they have 30 days to respond to the divorce petition, but it doesn't actually require you to fill anything out. So let's keep scrolling down. This is actually a new form, brand new for 2014. The form itself isn't new, but it's been completely updated. All right, so number one, we are going to fill in the name and the address of the court. Again, since we're here in San Ramon and Contra Costa County, we're going to use Contra Costa information. So we have the name of the court, it's the Contra Costa County Superior Court. And there is a U in county. And then the address of the court, we're going to put the 751 Pine Street. And the P.O. Box is 911. And the courthouse, again, is located in Martinez. We used to have a family law center out in Pittsburgh, but right now it's only being held in Martinez. So let's put the city. California. Oops, an extra E there. And the zip is 94553. Okay, now we're going to go down the name, address, telephone number of the petitioner's attorney. Again, since all of you are doing this self-represented or in pro per, it's going to be your name. So let's put Jamie's name since Jamie is our petitioner. So Jamie Smith, and you're going to put Jamie's address, which would be your own address, and we talked about this in the petition, but let me remind you, you want your address to be a valid mailing address the court can find you at during the divorce proceeding. I don't think it matters for the example. I think we had 123 Main Street. And then we need a phone number for Jamie as well once you're done with that.
Next line, or?
I think if they don't let you, just keep typing. So sometimes with these formatting boxes, they don't have enough space. So you're just gonna have to be a little bit creative and cram it all in. But it does ask for the phone number. So you wanna put that in there. All right, let's keep scrolling down. All right, so that's all of page 1. And we're gonna go to page 2. And this doesn't actually require you to fill anything out, so we're going to stop there and we're going to talk about these. I understand the word restraining order has a lot of connotations, a lot of negative connotations to it, so let's talk about it. We're not talking about domestic violence. When you file for divorce, these restraining orders automatically go into place. It has nothing to do with whether or not there's domestic violence. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're a good or bad person. Okay, we're only talking about behavior. I like to call them social niceties. And the reason for that is we need automatic rules in place to make sure that both sides are protected. Again, no fault state, but we want to encourage good behavior. So the first automatic standard family law restraining order that goes into effect is that you cannot take the kids of the marriage or of the relationship outside of the state of California without written permission of the other parent. We don't want any sort of kidnapping. We don't want somebody going off for an extended vacation and then just kind of disappearing. We just really need you to stay put and behave nicely. Okay. The second thing is, and that's a lot of words, but basically in a nutshell is we don't want you changing the beneficiary to any sort of insurance policy, and that can be auto, it can be accident, it can be life, it can be medical, any sort of insurance policy you cannot change the beneficiaries of. We don't necessarily want you to cut your spouse off of health insurance, and we don't want your spouse to cut you off of health insurance. We need to protect you. Same thing with auto insurance. What would happen if you got in a car wreck and your spouse had canceled your auto insurance policy? That's not good. We don't want to encourage that kind of behavior. All right, so the third restraining order, again, there are a lot of terms in there, but basically we don't want you doing anything that would destroy or hide any assets. Okay, so we don't want you cashing out insurance policies. We don't want you selling things. We don't want you throwing things away. We want you to be nice. Keep things kind of how they are. We kind of want to freeze the community as it is. No funny things with the money. Okay? The only exception is except in the usual course of business or for the necessities of life. So if there is a true emergency and you need to borrow money, that's okay. To go to a European vacation for 3 months, that's generally not the usual course of business, so we don't want you doing anything of that. All right, the fourth one is called a non-probate transfer. So there is a very legally technical way of explaining it, and most people, it kind of goes over their heads, so I'm going to use, it's not quite a correct way of describing it, but it kind of gives you the right idea. So if I owned a house with my husband and I didn't want him to get a piece of it, so I signed that house over to my mom and said, I'm sorry, I don't own a house. I have nothing to divide. That would be an example of trying to get rid of an asset through a non-probate transfer. Okay, and then at the bottom it says you must notify each other of any proposed extraordinary expenditures at least 5 business days before. And extraordinary business expenditures, let's say, sorry, not business expenditures, extraordinary expenditures. Let's just say my car had some really bad problems and I want to do $10,000 of repairs. Again, it's the nice thing to do to let your spouse know what's going on. And then the last part, well, there's 2 parts. One is the access to affordable health insurance. Because we are now in 2014, we have new rules and regulations with regards to health insurance, and there's a website that you can go to and talk about if you need health insurance. One of the big things in going through a divorce is you need to figure out what's going on with your health insurance, especially if you're the spouse that's being insured. And then the last thing, so in California, we only recognize you as married or divorced. or single in this case. So this divorce period of time where you filed for divorce but you don't have a judgment, you're still legally married. What does that mean? It means if you die intestate, and I know I'm using a lot of legal terms here, but intestate means you're dying without a will. If you die without a will, that means everything goes to your next of kin, and in this case, it's your spouse. So if you don't want your spouse getting all of your property, and most people don't, especially if they're going through a divorce, you might want to consult with an estate planning attorney and just draw up a simple will. Okay? I'm not telling you to change the beneficiaries on any of your life or your retirement accounts. Remember that Standard Family Law Restraining Order number 2. What I am telling you to do is that if you want to protect the rest of your assets, you can consult and perhaps get into and draft a will if you think that is at all an issue. Okay. So that takes us to the end of the summons. Like I said, it's a very easy form to fill out, very, very, very easy. But it contains a lot of information and it's really important for you to understand the legal ramifications of this. The summons and those Standard Family Law Restraining Orders, they go into effect the second that you sign the petition and you file it with the court. It goes into effect on the respondent or the other party once they are served, meaning they've gotten a copy of it. So if you're the respondent and you get the summons, you're under the Standard Family Law Restraining Orders. If you're the petitioner, it's as soon as you file for divorce. So again, it's really important that you all understand these Standard Family Law Restraining Orders. We lawyers like to call them ATROs, or Automatic Temporary Restraining Orders, and ATROs is a lot easier to say. So we don't want you to violate any of those. And it's not one of those things where you can say ignorance. It doesn't matter. You can say, I'm sorry, I didn't read it. The judge doesn't care. You are automatically under these restraining orders. Okay, so that takes us to the end of our second form, the summons. We're going to then go back in order, which is third form, and that's called the UCC-JEA. Hi, I'm Cristin Lowe. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope that I was able to help you through this really difficult time in your life. I'd like to invite you to hit like or comment or subscribe to our video series. If you have any specific questions regarding the form or regarding the divorce process itself, please email me directly at Cristin@CristinLoweLaw.com. Thanks again.